All right. Well, it's good to be back.
Yeah,
It's
it's
been a
good to
couple
be here.
weeks, and we're excited to be back recording some more content. We've got a special guest with us, Mr. Troy Weatherley here, and he wears many hats. A lot of hats.
Yeah, probably literally.
Literally, yeah.
actually,
Cowboy hats, baseball hats.
Yeah, I get in trouble for my amount of hats for my wife.
This is literal, yeah.
I have to purge them about once a year.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody.
She's got shoes,
Yeah.
you got hats.
Yeah, everybody we deal with gives us a free hat. You know?
Nice,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Everybody's feed and supply company and all that good stuff.
Yeah, breeders, farms,
Yeah.
equipment companies, you name it. We've got the hat.
That's awesome.
So
Kind of funny.
Troy is a member out at Enola,
Yep.
where Keith preaches and ministers. And Troy, go over maybe a little bit of what you do, your background, your profession.
Well, background, I was raised there in Enola. I've been there since I was 2, I guess.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I would call that my entire life.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I've been there 35 years, I guess, since my parents moved out there.
Now, did you grow up in that house where they live now?
No.
Okay, so they
just
bought
moved
that
there
later?
Just, about 10 years ago now, I guess.
Okay.
Is where they moved there. We were actually just about a mile north of there in a community called Barney.
Okay.
Barney, okay.
If you think Enola is small,
Gotcha.
okay, Barney.
It doesn't
is
even have a stop sign, does
It's
it?
a
Or is it-
suburb of Enola.
Okay, I got you.
Enola has a suburb.
Right. It's the northern heights area of Enola.
Nice. Yeah.
Is Valonia big city?
It's Metropolis
Oh, yeah,
here.
it's
Yeah.
Metropolis.
This
Got
is
McDonald's,
Metro.
Dollar General. We got,
Yeah, this is Metro for us. I graduated high school with 26 students. So,
Oh, wow.
26.
yeah.
Man.
So, to say we knew everybody was
Valedictorian.
Yeah. No. No, I'm glad you brought that up.
Hey, let's start on a high note here. Yeah.
I like to just tell people I was 9th in my
Hey.
class and leave it at that.
Yeah. No context. You don't need
no
context.
context.
Yeah.
I'm in the top 25 of my class.
Right.
Man, that's
Right.
that's pretty
Right.
impressive.
It's impressive, right? I was
In the top 25?
I was
Yeah.
9th in my class, and just don't mention the rest.
Absolutely. Hey, this is a judgment-free zone. We
Right.
both need all the grace we can get.
Yeah.
No, I grew up there. Graduated high school at Mount Vernon, Enola, which is where both of my kids go to school now. Paula and I started dating when we were teenagers. We were literally high school sweethearts,
Wow.
I guess. And people ask us how we met all the time, and I'm like, "There's no big romantic story there.
You're just there. Yeah.
I literally don't remember not knowing her.
Exactly.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. Good problem.
That's
we grew up-
impressive.
We went to school and church together, so and we got married in 2007. I was able to allow her to be my sugar mama. For a year,
There you go. For a
while
whole year.
while I
Which, I mean,
finished
you went to
college.
school with 26 people. I mean, how many were there to choose from? I
Well,
mean,
honestly,
literally.
people ask me all the time, "How'd you end up with her?" You know, she's
Yeah.
she's gorgeous and she's excellent. And I'm like, well, I was the only man she wasn't related to.
There you go.
And she was the only girl I wasn't related
In
to.
Enola, that's probably true.
Yeah.
it was,
That's
you
probably
know,
true in Enola.
It was a process of elimination. I
Destiny.
guess.
Yeah, we'll just call it destiny there.
But no, then I finished college at Fayetteville. I actually worked at the hospital in Washington Regional.
Yeah.
And which worked out great for me because I got out about 10 o'clock in the morning and have my classes.
Yeah.
And we lived on the Links Golf Course.
Okay,
in an
yeah.
apartment there, so I got pretty good at my short game.
Absolutely. Yeah. Gave you a little time there.
Yeah. But then once I graduated, we moved back to Central Arkansas, moved back to Enola, bought a house, remodeled it. And then we bought another house and remodeled it, and that's the one we're living in now.
Okay.
We've got a farm over there. We were able to buy the farm that touched our yard. We bought a house in 1 acre.
Worked out good.
And
Yeah.
then that farm came up for sale, and we actually bought the east half of it, and my neighbor bought the west half. So that worked out. 2011, in the middle of the first Valonia tornado,
Okay.
John was born.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
We changed delivery rooms 4 times.
Whoa.
During
Good
labor.
grief.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that was an experience. You know how they do on the storm tracker on the radar on the news and stuff. Or
Yeah.
That'd be at Bigelow at 7:15.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried their best.
Conway,
Yeah.
or whatever.
By the minute almost.
It didn't
yeah.
say that. It said Conway Regional Medical Center.
Oh, great.
I'll
Yeah.
never forget it. 'Cause, you know,
This is the eye. Yeah.
So they move us from this like labor and delivery suite to the ER to triage to, and then finally back
Wow.
to the labor and delivery suite, and then back to the OR.
As
where
if
we
it wasn't
eventually have a C-section, but
stressful
so
enough.
It was a stressful day.
Yeah.
But John was born that night, and then 2015, March 3rd, Cooper was born, and we got snowed into the hospital. So I guess our Weatherley last name was appropriate.
That's a good point.
Weatherly.
Yeah. I like the pun.
It
Yeah.
was kind of neat. It was kind of neat though, and just an example of how God works. That we were at the hospital, and the majority of our family was there when John was born. He was our first son, and my parents' first grandson. So there were a lot of people there, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's house was hit out here, South Tillow area.
Yeah.
So they took some storm damage there, but they were at the hospital with us.
God's timetable there. Yeah.
Just kind of a crazy thing. But it kind of put me in a weird space for 2 or 3 days because, I'm an FFA advisor at BB at the time, and I've got students and FFA chapters, and we're wanting to go help and help clean up and
wow,
all that stuff.
You got to be everywhere at one time.
Just had a baby, when we're in the hospital, and but ended up all working out like it always does. But so I've got my wife Paula. She's director of cardiology there at Conway Regional Hospital.
Okay.
And like I said, we went to school and church together our whole lives. So. And then John just turned 12, and Cooper just turned 8. Cooper has, they both show pigs.
Yeah.
John shows rabbits too. That was a new venture for us last year. I'm totally clueless with.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I nerded out on it because it was something new.
Yeah, something new to dive into because you've been doing it for so long. The same thing.
That's cool.
So I've actually really enjoyed doing that with him, and he's enjoyed that as well. Cooper has taken a liking. They've both dabbled in some baseball and that kind of stuff. It's not really their gig. So Cooper has recently taken a liking to golf. So and he has a very natural swing.
Yeah,
that's
so
a big
he's
part
got
of
a couple
it.
of golf.
I do not. Yeah.
Well, I played high school golf, and like I said, I lived on a golf course for a while, so I got pretty good at that. It was a par 3 course, so I got pretty good at that short game.
Exactly.
Short game.
I'm terrible off the tee box.
I can't stop swinging like a baseball bat. That's the only thing that ever made sense to me.
I've got a slice, and I just can't fix it.
Yeah.
It's all there is to it. I just play it.
Yeah, just work what you got.
It will fix itself at the most inopportune times. When I
When
need
you're
it,
overcompensating.
When you need it.
I'm trying to play this slice, it'll go straight as a string. Anyway, but Cooper's really taking a like to that, so he's got a couple golf camps coming up this summer.
Cool.
That's cool.
He's pretty excited about, and
that's cool.
I'm excited about playing with him.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm terrible at it, but I can at least show him.
Absolutely.
Drive the golf cart.
The fundamentals.
Yeah.
And drive
Caddy
the
him
cart
up.
and
Yeah.
Go you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, at Enola, is where we probably met, and
Okay, no, you don't remember this.
Oh, you calling me old?
This is how the whole
You said I
story
can't
happened,
remember.
It's because you're so old. But I remember, I went to Camp Caudle.
Camp Caudle.
There you go.
No way.
As a young kid, I started there when I was 9, and I guess went through all the way through my teenage years there doing the Mars Hill session. And this guy came, and I remember thinking this guy looks like Will Ferrell. Okay.
I can see that.
Will
I
Ferrell.
never thought that till just now. Yeah. I never thought that till just now. He's got the sense of humor
like
too.
Will Ferrell,
Yeah.
And then he gets up there and he gets
Famous.
this. It was in the little.
In the old mess hall?
Yeah, the mess hall.
No way.
Attached to the cafeteria.
Yeah, that screened-in porch.
Screened-in area.
Yeah.
And you gave a sermon there, and I don't remember the exact logistics of it, but I remember it had something to do with a loaf of bread.
God,
And you were
man.
like, man, this is some good bread, and you were like just chowed down on this loaf of bread. In that
He's the
sermon.
visual master. You do not forget what he's
had
using.
it falling out of his mouth and stuff, and he's chomping on it, and I was like, this guy.
I think we were just talking about this the other day too. That's ironic.
I don't know. It's just stuck in my brain.
That's
for
funny.
My whole life, and I was like, that guy. He's charismatic, and he brings it in a way that these kids and me at the time,
absolutely
could understand it. And
Yeah.
So that's I don't know that we actually officially met.
That's
but,
crazy. I didn't know you were out there. I still remember that
Yeah.
night because it was because people were sitting probably as close to me,
shoulder to shoulder.
you, and I didn't
Yeah.
practice that. And that dough, I put so much in my mouth.
Dry.
Oh man, it balled up. I couldn't even swallow. I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought I was going to choke.
In front of all these kids, or do I try?
Yes, I just started throwing bread out to everybody. Like, come get the bread of life.
Yeah.
Jesus is the bread of life.
Yes. I'll never forget it.
Wow.
That's the first time I've seen him.
Thank you for sharing
preach.
that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow.
But yeah, we were out at camp. Alan Shock, is that right?
Alan Myers?
Myers.
Yeah, leading the session out there.
Yeah, he probably
Yeah.
led the session out there.
Yeah, Myers.
Alan Myers.
Yeah.
He still runs it out at Camp Areopagus, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Great guy.
Great man. Yeah.
Big,
yeah.
big influence on
I
me
love
at
the
the
Myers.
time.
Yeah.
And of course David Riley,
Yeah.
Carl, all those guys were just absolutely pivotal, and that really pivotal point in a teenage boy, or a
Absolutely.
young boy's
Yes.
life. You know,
Yeah.
those were just
Crucial times.
Figures, and Jason,
Yeah.
Jason and
Wow.
Crystal were out there
Yeah.
at that time, so they were all big influences on me.
Well, you know, and it just continues
So
because,
important.
because Jason now, he directed the day camp that was out at Camp Areopagus just this past week, and Spencer and I went out and taught some classes, and so, yeah, it just continues.
Yeah.
And Jason's daughter, Riley, just did a wonderful job, helped direct it, so kudos to you, Riley, if you ever watch this. Just did a wonderful job. So it's just neat to see the transgressions.
Sometimes, yeah. This is
Sinner, Riley. The
transformation.
transformation.
Plethora.
A plethora of transformations that are out there.
The transfer of
The transfer of
torch.
the torch.
yeah.
Man, see, that's why you came on here.
Alliteration, ladies and gentlemen.
You're
Yeah,
a teacher. I'm a preacher. I just read scripture. But at Enola was probably the first time I realized
Officially
that
met,
you
yeah.
were
Right.
that you existed.
Right.
Yeah.
And
He was just a celebrity.
Exactly.
but I hear good things about you, and you can tell a lot by how people talk about someone. And always talking about your wisdom and wit, and that you're a good leader in the congregation, and that you're very spiritual minded. And so that was one reason I wanted to have you on. I know you're ag-gri teacher. Is that what you call yourself?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Is there a
agricultural instructor, FFA advisor? It's kind of all rolled into the same thing.
Are you okay with like ag-gri teacher?
Yeah,
Cow
absolutely.
person?
Yeah, cow person.
Cow person.
Cow person.
Actually, at Greenbrier, I'm the pig person.
You
But
are the pig person.
yeah,
Sweet.
which is kind of weird because when I grew up, my parents would never let me have a show pig.
Okay.
Because they have this connotation of they stink and
Yeah.
and they didn't want them at our house and blah blah.
I gotcha.
And they do. But,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's not a critter out there that doesn't.
Exactly.
Stink, I'll just tell you
Right,
that.
right.
So it really didn't matter. But anyway, I showed lambs and cattle like growing up. My parents would buy me some show lambs and I would feed them and show them. And then there's a breeder right down the road, Dale McNitch, who would have some heifers that he would let me show. I don't really think I ever owned any of them.
Yeah.
But kind of in exchange for helping him out, halter breaking some or feet, or helping him get them ready for a sale or
Let
whatever.
you have claim over them a little bit there.
Right, and then
Yeah.
I would show some that fall for him. And
Yeah.
So I showed lambs and cattle, and really didn't have anything to do with the pig until I was at the U of A at Fayetteville. I got hired on for a work-study money program where you work for the university, basically. And they pay for our utilities, our housing.
Oh, wow.
The only thing we had to pay for was our satellite bill.
Yeah.
But we did research trials on, which feeds improve muscle growth or skeletal growth, or which feeds allow for better respiratory immunity, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So we did these research trials for Bayer Pharmaceutical or Monsanto or Cargill or ConAgra or Tyson. We did all these research trials on it. So I became interested in it then, and I had some friends that kind of mentored me there, that grew up doing the pig thing. And at that time, my little brother Seth, who was also a member of our congregation.
And
he was still in high school.
Yeah, he's an agri teacher.
Right. He's an agri teacher at Mount Vernon, Enola now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They're in our community. So he will be my son's agri teacher.
Oh, wow.
So they can't get away from us.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, he was still in high school at the time. So I kind of used him as my guinea pig. Pun intended. But since Seth was the baby of the family, when Seth wanted to show pig, guess what happened?
Ah, yes.
Oh, here we go.
No resentment.
You know who's going to be watching this probably. You didn't tell her you were going to be on here,
I did.
but I did.
Mom.
Family traumas are coming out. Yeah.
Seth the show pig didn't get me one. Anyway, not bitter
I'll
about
preach
it.
on that Sunday.
Not bitter about it. Yeah, she needs to hear it from the pulpit.
Yeah, she needs to hear that from the pulpit.
But no, she, well, they got, and I was involved in that too. I was like, we need to get him a show pig. We need to get him a pig.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did that, and then from there, I've somehow or another become the pig guy. But,
yeah.
But
well, it's interesting to me. I never really I did sports, and you know I didn't really do much with animals. And when I went to Enola last year at the fair, you know, we had our worship out there, and I said, well, I'm going to go out there and see what it's all about. I think I went to my first showing, and it was just packed. And people in there just, man, they were excited. And all of a sudden, these young kids are walking in these animals that I would be afraid to approach.
Bigger than them. Yeah.
And they're walking them around. All of a sudden, they say somebody's the winner, and I'm sitting here like,
what did I just look at? Yeah.
What I have no clue.
Yeah.
But as the preacher in me, I was sitting there like, there's got to be a sermon in there somewhere. Is there some kind of spiritual connection there? That
multiple.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for what you saw at our fair at Faulkner County, we're very, very fortunate. A lot of your county fairs aren't that big, or you know,
it's kind of the centerpiece. It really is.
In volume and quality.
Yeah, it was very well put together.
Very fortunate. To be where we're at here in Faulkner County, but there's a lot of parallels. You know, I tell people this all the time. You know, we're not using kids to raise livestock; we're using livestock to raise kids.
Oh, wow! And say that again.
We don't use kids to raise livestock. We use livestock to raise kids.
I love that.
And it's so true. So true. It helps them in so many different directions. But for them to be able to see, this little 40-pound pig or whatever it is, or maybe it's a sheep or a goat or a calf, that's newborn, and then place it into their hands, and they're all of a sudden responsible for this living, breathing creature. That's one of God's creations, and that, they can experience the growth of that animal and themselves at the same time, together, learning things and getting better, and maybe exposing a gift or a talent that God gave them that they didn't even realize was there.
Right.
That animal husbandry. And I've been looking at so many other parallels to, and if you look for it, and if you're in my profession or even involved in agriculture in any realm, really, you'll see so many more parallels, like in the Bible, of why they did the things that they did, like in the Old Testament. Why was Rebecca at the well at that time? During the day. Well, everybody had designated times. Because we couldn't have everybody showing up at the well to water all their lambs, goats, livestock at the same time.
It's like a schedule.
It's so we do the same things now that they did in the Old Testament with their animals and the husbandry of them, and there's such
even if you
1,000 parallels.
I guess even if you go back to the Garden of Eden,
right?
I mean, when God created the animals and He created man, He told Adam, "You name the animals, you take care of the animals." And at one time, we were almost at one with the animals. And it wasn't until sin came into the world that we had that difference. And so I think it does good for people to respect the creation that God has created.
It was never meant to be this indifferent relationship. It was supposed to be a caretaking nurture. We grow through that.
Right.
You know, and I wasn't raised with that. I mean, we didn't have a farm, but you don't have to have a farm to experience that. I mean, rabbits.
Most of these kids don't.
Exactly. That's
really?
the good point. Glad you said that. I was going to ask.
I really like, you know, and we get kids that have a farming background or they come from a family farm, something like that. We get those kids all the time, and that's great. But really, I love these kids that don't come from a farming background because they don't know anything.
Exactly.
And
they
they
can relate.
Their parents don't know anything really, and they dive in so well, and they do.
It's like a light bulb.
Whatever is instructed, they do it. And
That's exciting.
They go. I actually, you know, sometimes I prefer getting those kids that don't know anything because it's a blank canvas.
Yeah.
And they can find something that they had in them the whole time and they didn't even know.
Absolutely.
Never even
We're
dreamed that it would be there.
to be that way.
And I think that's even true maybe even in the church.
Yeah, absolutely.
When, you know, your kids who have gone to church all their life, sometimes we just take it for granted, you know, what we have. And then when you invite a friend and they come in, and if they're able to see it done properly with the proper education, man, it just takes on a new life. It's just a lot different feeling when you see someone come from maybe the outside and come in and experience the Spirit working in their lives, to see that done, and where they could, if you show an animal properly, not only do you win, but you know you learn leadership skills, and you learn how to be one with that animal. And I think the same thing is true spiritually. Once we receive that Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit should be evident, but sometimes it takes a while to develop. And sometimes it's not seen in us the way that it should. And we have to learn to trust in the Spirit like we trust our animals or trust the teachers.
And it's different. You know, if you, using the church as an example there, if you grew up in darkness, so to speak, figuratively, man, when you see that light, you want to soak it up. You know, and sometimes I think as Christians, we grew up in the church and we grew up with a lot of faithful people around us, and those really good, strong Christian examples just showered around us. And maybe we don't appreciate them as much. And that example as much as one would that just came in here and like, wow, these people are, they have something in them.
I think about that,
And I will say this, when y'all were showing the animals, and like I said, I try to be observant, and I'm watching stuff, and I'm learning, so I'm trying to absorb it all in. I saw kids out there, and I saw adults out there interacting with the children, helping them, guiding them, leading them, cheering them on, encouraging them. They need the same things in our congregations. Parents, your children need the same encouragement in our congregations as much as they do showing an animal, or as much as you go and support them in soccer or blast ball or whatever the sport may be, or whatever thing they take on that we just dive into and we travel everywhere to go see. They need to see the same thing in church. They need to have parents and leaders that are there encouraging, supporting, guiding. And I think our children would be a lot better off spiritually if we would show them the same value in that, whether it be song leading, preaching, praying, attending youth group stuff, or just being a servant in whatever capacity it may be. When your family is involved and when you have leaders that are there, it makes a difference. And so I did see that when you were showing the animals. I mean, everybody was right there working together. Everybody knew their role. Everybody knew what they were doing. The adults trusted the kid to go out there and do what they were supposed to do. But then the kid was able to come back and take teaching or instruction from that adult. And so it was really a beautiful thing. A really beautiful thing to see.
There's a lot of parallels there, and I really appreciate this. And I think I told you that night. I really appreciate us having our worship service there that night, and I think that was really, really cool because there are so many families, particularly in our congregation, being in a rural area. There's so many families that are we're involved
Yes.
in a lot more dollar amounts than we want to admit. But there at the fair, that was just such a breath of fresh air. Getting to have the congregation come out and kind of see what these kids are doing, and to be able to support them, and that's plays into what you just said. That's our network. Coming together and embracing these kids and saying, what you're doing is great, and we're going to use it for God. We're going to use it to glorify God.
The whole community, I mean, some even outside of the church were embracing that. And listeners, if you're not aware of what we're referring to, at the fair, and this was the first time it had ever been done by really any church, and so it's amazing that the church stepped in to do that. There's a big convention center that happens right next to the where all the showing takes place, the Fairground Center, and Enola, they booked at least a giant corner of that convention center to have worship service that Sunday morning, because in the past there's showing that had to happen. So
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night. It was in the middle of the week.
People couldn't make it back to church because they had to be there all day for showing. Right. So Keith and some of the leaders, let's take the church to them.
That's right.
And it wasn't just for the Enola members. Of course, they were able to come worship, which was awesome. Right. But people, there's a church service going on. Oh, well, I'll check that out. And that's so good.
People just
they just came and said, I bet there was over 200 people.
And so y'all sang and had thought through scripture, and and the community embraced that. Yeah,
a few of my students from my school.
That's cool.
We're around each other all the time, but we don't necessarily talk Jesus, But
but you show them Jesus like you show an animal.
So, we won't get into all the legalities of it and all that stuff.
I got you.
You don't have to speak Jesus to preach Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I know. Keith, you were a coach and a teacher, and it's one of the things that we all struggle with, I think, particularly early on in our careers, as we're trying to get our career as an educator or as a coach started, and kind of build your name or build your program and build a culture. That we struggle with balancing that, God, family, career. We struggle that, and we may get it out of whack with our priorities every now and then. And that's one thing I struggle with, particularly early in my career. To the point where I was like, I gotta hang this up.
The tightrope.
I got out of coaching a couple of years.
Right, not spending enough time with my family. Not
just consuming.
Kind of neglecting my responsibilities as a Christian and in the church and stuff. And but then ultimately what I break it down to, and what I contribute me staying into, because it's not like we're getting rich, being educators. But I have a real estate side hustle, and I could do way better.
I got you.
It's by choice.
I got you.
Yeah, by choice.
But anybody that's still in public education is kind of like healthcare right now. After this whole pandemic and everything, anybody that's still in it is in it for the right reasons.
Exactly. It weeded everybody out. That was, this is too much.
Right.
Or not enough.
I mean, people were leaving in droves. And, So it boiled down to me. This is. I thought. I prayed about it a while, and I thought maybe I'm neglecting my ministry. Or maybe I should try to be a youth minister and youth leader or some congregation like that, because God did give me this gift to be able to connect with students. And so I ultimately look at it like, I said, okay, you're where you're supposed to be, because this, even though you're not a youth minister, you're ministering to youth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very much so.
All day.
Yeah.
Yes.
More than any youth minister gets a chance to most of the time.
Minimally, I'm with these students 5 hours a week.
Yeah.
And
more than their parents.
Those are the ones. Yeah, absolutely. And more, and those are the ones who just take my class. So while we might not be speaking Jesus, I might be the only interaction they have with a Christian male that entire week.
Yeah.
Or it might be the only interaction they have with a Christian.
Period. Yeah.
That entire week.
Well, I could.
So I don't want to have to stand before God someday and say, you've had an opportunity to
buried your talent,
to influence this many thousands of kids, and you opted out.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So I think.
Well, I can remember coaching at Greenbrier, And I was a young coach at that time, but I was coaching at Greenbrier Junior High football. And I can remember a dad coming up to me one time, and he said, Coach, he said, I know you don't talk about Christianity. He said, I know you don't talk about Jesus because it's public school. But he said, my son can tell that you're a Christian, and you never talk about it. But I am thankful and I'm grateful that I know you're a godly man and you're coaching my child because he's able to see it. So kids, they know when you're a godly person. They may not say, are you a Christian? Because they don't see it, but they know, they just see it. I mean, it's just evident when we are acting that way, and you have such an influence to be able to help.
Well,
people.
like you mentioned earlier, the legalities, you could go into your classroom your first year and you could preach a sermon, you could pull out the Bible and you could preach Jesus, and then you would be out of a job because of legalities. But you chose to be a Christian that could influence for 25, 30 years without having to preach a sermon in your class to be an influence. So which one would you take? It's you've influenced so many generations through that rather than just one, you know. So
and the kids amaze me because they know you.
Yes, they do.
You cannot fake.
You can't fake with kids.
They're very intuitive.
Because you know they spend a lot of time with you, as much as you spend with them, and they know when you're not having a great day, or you know when, and they'll check on you. You know, those kids like, hey, you all right? You know, what's happening? You snapped at Jimmy out in the shop earlier.
Absolutely.
You know,
you need the community just like they do,
right? And they know it, so they know that you're real or genuine or not.
They know it.
They pick up on it instantaneously almost. And the ones that really travel with us and they compete on our career development event teams and leadership development event teams, and they show animals, and you know the ones that are just dive all in, like. You know which ones you can be real with and stuff. You know,
that's right.
We might talk.
That's
right. Behind the scenes or after hours with with their parents. We might talk about our blessings and where they came from and But for the most part, in front of students during school hours, we can't talk about those things. But they can for sure pick up on it. And whether you're genuine or whether you're blowing smoke, it's all and I love having that. Particularly, I don't know why, but it's the girls that they'll call you out quicker.
Oh yeah,
I can vouch for that.
Mr. Weatherley, is that something we're supposed to be saying?
The ears are always on.
Well, one thing I wanted to expound on that I liked what you said was something about the livestock. I'm my old man. I done forgot.
You're not training the kids to raise livestock. You're training the livestock.
Yeah, the livestock to train kids. But I would tell parents, you don't have to go out and buy a cow or go out and buy a pig to do what he's talking about. It may be sports. It may be fishing. It may be band. It may be gymnastics. It may be
character building things.
Whatever it is, don't let whatever it is guide your child. And I'm afraid that sometimes we get lost in that.
Absolutely.
We let the sport be greater than the kid. And the kid's not learning the lessons that really the sport was supposed to be teaching. Or whatever they're involved in becomes greater, even to the parent. It becomes greater than even what their child is learning through it. Because their child may not learn the lessons that they need, that one day later on in life they need. And with me being a coach, I guess I think that same way, just like you do with animals. Sports I use to really teach life lessons. So sometimes it didn't matter to me whether we lost, because sometimes the greatest lessons we learn is when we lose, and how we fight back. And when I was a wrestling coach, okay, you ended up on your back there. What are you going to do? What are you going to learn from it? If you don't learn from it, you're going to end up in the same position. So it's not that you're on your back. You're out there trying. That's kudos. And so now let's go back to the practice room and let's learn how to deal with that so that doesn't happen again, and then growth happens. But if we never learn that to apply it, but some parents, they just They take the sport, and it becomes greater than the kid.
Right.
And I think we lose
Even
value
that is a
in
symptom of a deeper problem. I think it goes back to before the sport comes into the picture. They value the kid more than their relationship with Jesus. I mean, you can't love your kid more than you love Jesus. Because then I want my kid to be the best. I want to give everything to my kid. And the sport is just the devil tripping you up, saying, well, this sport's the way that they're going to get what they need. And then you end up with the sport.
That's a great point.
And so it really comes down to when you have kids, Jesus is number one, but I want my kid to know Jesus. And so it'll naturally regulate.
Because that will regulate
Yeah.
the sport or the animal showing or the farming or
Sometimes,
fishing or
easier said than
band
done.
or
Like you said, some seasons of life you're walking a tightrope. I
Right.
mean, trying to figure out how to balance all that.
I always thought it was impressive. I had one young man who's, by the way, playing Major League Baseball now.
All right.
And he was in my class at Greenbrier as a student. And, you know, I was doing my whole spiel, trying to get him involved in FFA and, you know, and be a member and do this or be on this team, you know, and that kind of stuff. And he's, Mr. Weatherley, I appreciate it. And he was very respectful and always has been. He said, I'm going to play baseball for the Razorbacks. I'm going to play Major League Baseball.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah. Good one.
Says you and 10,000 other kids.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and this kid in the back raised his hand. He's like, no, he's already committed. Like, he's going to play baseball
Yeah.
for the Razorbacks. And I said, oh. And I ended up building a relationship with this boy. And sure enough, watching him play baseball in high school was like a man among boys. You know,
He's doing what he needs to be doing.
He's doing, and you know, I thought, but it consumes so much of his time. You know, but he said, you know, how can I develop the reach that I need to be able to have influence over people? You know, if I don't take it to the highest level.
Yeah. Give yourself the platform. Yeah.
Right, you know. So I thought, well, that's a mature way to look at it.
Yeah.
I suppose, you know.
Ultimately,
as
that's
long as
God's
you're not
will
losing,
anyway. Yeah.
losing your faith, or you're not sacrificing.
He's got
your
intentions behind that.
Right. And I thought, man, that's a really mature outlook for a teenager to have. You know.
That's the
How
Philippians
can I-
4:13. It said, if I can do all things through Christ, I mean,
Right.
Christ is the emphasis wherever I'm at. I'm going
Right.
to make it known.
You know,
So
how can I have as much reach as I can possibly get and tell as many people about Jesus
That's
and
respectable.
show people about Jesus, as many people about Jesus as I can. If I don't get to that highest level,
Yeah, that's his talent that God
He's
gave him.
given me that talent. I feel like I need to use it to the full extent.
Yeah.
So I thought,
Yeah.
well, that's a really mature outlet.
Yeah, and I think that comes almost what you were saying, that parents early on need to love Jesus more than they even do their kid.
Yeah.
Where that value is placed, and that young man is seeing once Christ has taken over your life, once the Spirit is working through you, and He has you, then you're going to take it, whether you're an agri teacher, whether you're a youth minister, whether you're a Major League Baseball player. It doesn't matter what you do. Christ has you, and you're using it for His glory. There's a lot of people that I think they want to be that Major League Baseball player because they make millions of dollars, and I can be famous, and my name can be on a baseball card, and I can be a legend, and I want to make the Baseball Hall of Fame, and it has nothing to do
Selfish.
with
Yeah.
Christ. And I think preachers can do that. I think
Oh,
elders
man,
can
yeah.
do that. I think, you know,
Nobody's immune from that temptation.
nobody's immune from that temptation there. But I think when Christ has you, it just flows out of you.
Yeah,
It's
fruits of
just
the Spirit.
it's just who you are, and
Yeah.
you just naturally take it into the world. And I'm trying to make a difference. And I think we see athletes that do that. And I think we see farmers do that, and you know, hunters. And I know you're big into hunting and
I
stuff.
thought that was a really cool outlook, and I know that it came from his family. You know, they're great people. But I thought that was really, really neat. It's like, okay, he's given me this talent. How can I use it to glorify him? You know?
Wow.
I thought that was a really mature outlook for a teenager. But that's one good thing. I know we're physically sitting in Bologna right now, and I can't speak to their culture. But
I don't know if I can.
Bologna has a culture.
at Greenbrier, I feel like it's a, you know, you mentioned it doesn't matter if it's an athlete or if it's a band kid or if it's one of our, you know, FFA kids or volleyball or track or whatever. It doesn't matter. At Greenbrier, I feel we all share that same common goal. Like it's not like, oh, well, you're not an ag kid, I can't help you.
Yes.
You know, or you're not a band kid, get out of my band.
It's not a
right
box.
now.
It's not all boxed out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's as a district, you know, particularly at the high school, we just embrace them all, and you know my thing, my discipline might not be their thing, but I can probably give them something.
Some things are universal, yeah.
You know, that will help them get where they're going.
And that starts from the leadership. That starts from the top down. It's
Absolutely.
just the culture, the environment that you
Right.
create. And I think the same thing should be true in our congregations. That, you know, if your leadership, if you start at the top and then that's their attitude, then everyone who walks in those doors are going to be welcomed, are going to be treated equal, no matter what their gift is, no matter what their talent is. They'll feel like they can give it and give it freely, and that it's going to be respected and thought of highly. And I know that's one thing that Enola strives to do. I just love our leadership and what they do, and they're always thinking about other people and trying to implement things that, you know, can reach a lot of different people. And so I know Eddie, Brother Hawkins, is starting to show videos or make videos of some of our members and just asking them questions
I've
about
seen some of those,
what they like about Enola. And Miss Beverly Ingram was on there, the first one to be on there, and she's probably up to what, 1 million views right now. Probably it's probably Beverly. It's probably 1 million or something. That's preacher count.
That's my aunt.
That's
so I have to call it.
Keep her humble.
Beber.
Beber.
Yeah, with a B.
Beber.
This Sunday.
Beber.
Beber.
I want to hear you call
Beber.
Beber.
Oh,
Beber.
call her Beber.
But she'll call
I
you
don't know how
something
we
too.
Yeah, she probably
I
will.
bet she can have a name
I
for
don't
you
know how we
too.
pick somebody so technologically savvy for the first video interview, but she's doing good with her flip phone.
Yeah, there you go. Old school.
But no, she's great. Talk about one of the biggest Christian influences in my life.
Yeah.
Man, that is my mother's dad's sister.
Wow.
So
She's influenced me already, and I've only been at Enola,
she's my great aunt, I guess. But
a short time.
yeah, just a beacon.
And she's one of the first that I called. Even when I first started working there, she's one of the first that I called. I didn't know very many people, so for some reason I connected to her, so I would call her and say, hey, how does this work, or what do y'all do here? And it was about a month ago, I guess, and one day she came up and she said, you haven't asked me to do anything lately. You know, like, hey, I still want to be useful and of service, you know. And
I appreciate people like that.
Yeah, and you try to spread it out
Okay,
because
well,
you don't want to burn people out.
Next time she
But
asks you that, tell her you need a pan of chocolate-covered biscuits.
Yeah, there you go.
chocolate-covered biscuits.
Yes, they're as heavenly as they sound.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Chocolate-covered biscuits.
There's never a time I don't need that.
It's basically, it's not biscuits and chocolate gravy.
Okay, that's what I've envisioned first.
By the way, she does a great job with those as well.
Okay, chocolate-covered biscuits.
But it's like canned biscuits,
Yeah.
or homemade. She's done both. And they have butter on top, and then like chocolate powder.
Oh, okay.
And she bakes them, so it's like a
Oh.
chocolate southern. It's
like encrusted
butter
onto the biscuit.
cinnamon roll, but it's chocolate.
Well, when we start our Lads to Leaders,
That's going to be
That's
what
a
the
great-
ladies
that's
are
a
going to
great
learn how to
idea.
make.
she's going to share that recipe, and that's
She
going to
can
be
sell-
legendary.
She can share that for
Call
sure.
me on that Sunday and I'll
Yeah.
I'll get a guest preacher and
Yes, preacher. Go.
No, she used to keep us a lot when we were young, you know, helping my mom out, and my mom helped her out and all that stuff, and they still do that to this day. They do everything, a lot of things together. But she still, to this day, I'm 37, and she calls me Baby Troy.
there you go.
Baby
Every
Troy.
time she sees me.
Baby Troy and
Yeah.
Bever.
Because you're so short and
Yeah, I said petite.
Oh, but she's not the only one there at Enola. There's so many that have just
Good
been
people.
faithful over the years, and you can see the Spirit has worked on them, and they've allowed the Spirit to show them to the world and allow the Spirit to be evident in their lives, and just so many that we could list there.
And what's great about it, you know, now we're seeing the fruits of their faithfulness.
Yes.
You know, and obviously we've had a lot of new members come in, and we're excited about those and expanding in number and in spirit. And but you're seeing their kids and
Yes.
their kids,
Yes.
generations.
starting to
Yeah.
starting to serve on the Lord's Supper.
Yes.
In a communion and reading scripture and doing song leaders. For a while there, it seemed like we had 2 or 3 song leaders, or
Yeah.
2 or 3 of us.
Yeah.
And
Carrying
now,
it, yeah.
now it's like there's 7 or 8 of us.
Yeah.
So it's so refreshing, to see all that expanding.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's so true because, I mean, in that world, in the Enola culture, many people grew up a farmer. Mm-hmm. So they're a farmer. Later on, they just get some land. That's what they look to do, is get land just like you did. And, you just follow in those footsteps. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to see that same thing in the church, in the congregation that you're at, means that you also put in that time to show them church,
Right.
at the same time as showing them how to be a farmer. And it does take work on both sides to create that, environment, that
Planting seeds on both sides.
planting seeds. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
This has been insightful for me. I've learned. So
Yeah.
I hope if
I'm going to go out and buy a pig.
I know, it makes me want to go out and buy
Maybe we just go buy a
I
rabbit.
know where you can get some.
I know a guy. My wife wants chickens. She wants a chicken house and chickens sometime.
No, my wife does too.
We got
I'd rather go to
chinchilla and
Chick-fil-A
fish and
get my chicken.
That's right.
That's
Holy
the best
bird.
place to
The
shop.
holy bird. Yeah, and so again, well, thank you for your time, and
Yeah, thanks for
and if
coming
you're
on.
watching this, and if you know Troy, and if you don't know Troy, use him as a resource in the church and in the Greenbrier area, FFA, and wherever you're at. I know he would appreciate to build connections with you. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
if we can get you in touch with him, with your kids, helping, if you want to start an FFA or anything like that, we want to encourage it. So don't miss out on the blessings that God has to offer through those avenues in life.
That's
And,
right.
I appreciate people imparting that insight and that wisdom there, that we can learn a lot from His creation. And,
Yeah.
hope you have a great afternoon. If you're listening, and if you're on Facebook, please leave feedback and comments and questions, and we'll follow up. And if there's questions you have for Troy, we'll get them in touch, and we'll get those answered on Facebook as well. So stay tuned, and as always, in all things we do, we want to be more like Christ.
Amen.
And
Yep.
so appreciate your time listening, and have a blessed afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the wrong horn. That's great.
He's used to bells. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna be right.